Hey y'all, welcome to Cornbread and Roses. This is your friendly neighborhood organizer, Austin, uh, and we're here tonight with Jason.
Hello, comrades.
And yeah, welcome to the most unprofessional podcast in the land. And the I keep saying first socialist. Technically, I guess we're the second socialist podcast in the land after our friend Joy's podcast, HSV Progressive. Oh, we got welcome, Tree Bark.
Yeah,
It's good to
welcome.
see you and have you.
I just want to point out we're
And
slightly more professional than normal because of your fancy new microphone.
and I have my family to thank for that for a late Father's Day gift. Yeah, I hope it sounds nice. We're upping our production values. Maybe it doesn't sound like straight up leftist audio anymore. Um, you know, Jason's always sounded nice, but mine has always been questionable. Oh, we got Uncle Warren in the house. What's up? If you ain't checking it out, check out his podcast. He's fun. A lot. Probably to be honest. Uh, and yeah, he's got his secret show and his weekly 2-3 times a week news show in the morning. So check him out too. It's good to have you. Thank you for hanging out with us. Yeah. Is happy end of Pride. Thank you. Well, I was at a Pride event. Well, yeah, Pride and anti counter Marjorie Taylor Greene event yesterday, and some of the family went out to the Pride March today, and you were there today, weren't you?
I missed the march because I was tabling at the rally, and so I was there instead. So I didn't go to the parade, but the Community Pride Alliance put on a Pride event. I thought they did a good job. It kind of rose up in opposition to Rocket City Pride, allowing the log cabin Republicans to have a table there. There was a lot of blowback against them for that, and they really didn't demonstrate that they had learned much in the aftermath. And so there are organizations that are putting on alternative pride events in the Huntsville area, including Rainbow Trouble, who is an amazing group of activists and organizers, and this Community Pride Alliance. And so see, I went and tried to table on behalf of the Green Party. It wound up being kind of a bust for me, just because it came down raining pretty hard, and it was thundering and
Mm.
lightning. So I took down my tent because I was concerned about the lightning. And then
Yeah,
I schlepped everything to my car, and by the time it cleared up, I was like, I don't feel like setting back up. So I helped At the Root and a couple of other groups set their tables back up and said hi to some folks that I know, and decided to come home and get ready for this.
right on. Well, you got a little attention though. Please tell me.
Oh yeah, I got some. Yeah, I was there for the Green Party, and there's mixed feelings about that. I understand that. So, but I got a couple of people to sign up for our updates about our meetings and things like that. But
You know
I
that
had a great time. The crowd was amazing. I'm terrible at estimating crowd size. I thought, oh, well, there's probably about 500 people here at the No Kings event, and it turns out there were like 4,000 people there. I'm as good at guessing crowd sizing as I am at guessing how much stuff costs. Like, I have no idea.
definitely an algebraist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Uh, yeah. So thinking about the Green Party, this like there's been so a few weeks ago Bernie Sanders announced that he was going to help independents and folks that wanted to run on the Democratic ticket to run for office, and there's two groups helping manage that, Run for Something and damn. I had a note over here on my desk before the cat pissed on it, and so that note is gone now. But there's two major orgs, and if I took a moment, there's another org that helps with independence. But one group was helping folks 40 and over, and other was helping folks under 40 run. And at that moment, several weeks ago, it was that over 5 had pledged to run for office. And since Mom Donnie uh, won the Democratic primary up in New York, there's been almost another 4,000 folks that have decided to run for office. And I'm curious as to if the Green Party's getting any like love from this. You know what I mean? Like, and if they're developing a strategy to focus on local elections, the midterms, uh, and whatnot coming up. So I
It's
haven't seen
possible.
any articles though.
Yeah, it's possible at the national level. At the local level, not so much. And honestly, we're not in a position to be able to contest many elections locally. So we're looking at endorsing people who are running in nonpartisan races like city council and building alternative power structures and doing things outside of the electoral field, because it's a tough sell in Alabama. There's a lot of
Audio is not good at the moment.
Oh, you're good, Morgan. We can hear you. Welcome, Morgan, one of our intermittent co-hosts. I can definitely hear you typing or tapping back there. But Jay, who do you think is the strongest Green Party in the nation, or top three?
Oh, there we go.
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I need to do a better job about getting plugged into the local, to the national party.
Morgan, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Welcome. You make it back safe?
I did. Running a little late because I got some sun on the lake today.
All right. Well, we're going to start with some memes and then do the conspiracy of the week. And then this week in socialism, some events and trainings is going on around the state and across the nation. Not too many this week. And then some hit a headline on repercussions of everything happening in Alabama, and then maybe do a rundown of way too many articles. So yeah, let's get to it. Let's whoops, wrong button. What's been keeping you busy before I hit the? Let's see here.
I've been busy. First time was getting a new job and sorting out previous job stuff.
Congrats! So you got a new one lined up.
It's not going to be in Bama though.
Well, you'll always be a Bama boy in spirit. How about that?
Yep.
Right. So I'm so glad to hear you landed on your feet like a cat. Like that's good to hear. We've had several comrades in the area lose their employment for various reasons, and we don't have a job network set up to back folks up around here quite yet, but that is something that is being worked on in the background with various folks. So that's something that ever creating a job network, it's in the works.
Yeah, network.
So yeah,
yeah, my network managed to pay off.
hell yeah. So let's hit up the memes. All right. Vader. Oh, wait. How do we go with Vader? Stormtroopers wear helmets to protect their identities. I don't know how good that Vader is right there, but we got Vader. You know, trying to make sure you understand the stormtroopers out there, just trying to protect themselves. And this right here. Thought about this a ton. We got Putin 72, Trump 79, the Ayatollah 86, Netanyahu 75, and Xi 72. The world running on retirement age. They beefing like a bingo night at the nursing home.
We should have congressional leaders.
I mean, we could just just page upon page of folks. I did see Tom Tillis decided to back out of running for office again after not supporting Trump, and Trump immediately saying he's going to primary him. So yeah. What did
Chucky is 74.
Yeah. Let's see here. Not really a meme, but kind of a meme. We got abolish work on some piping right here.
I love graffiti so much. It's a nice work.
I do like it.
I mean, it's the first memes, right? Kinda.
I like the sparkles on the letters.
Yeah, it hits up right there. Yeah, but beautiful work on the abolish work. We've got all the clones of JD Vance pining over a couch. Very interested.
Did you see? There's a guy who was a lady or a guy who got caught up with ICE because she had a meme of JD Vance on her phone.
Yeah, it was the Mads Mikkelsen from Norway, not the is the actor from Denmark, maybe. Not the who's I think he's been in a Star Wars flick. We've got an example of how the right can't meme. Mice die in mousetraps because they don't understand why the cheese is free. The same thing happens with socialism.
Wow.
And we got Evan up here. I bet this hits really hard if you're stupid. Yeah.
I was reading an article about from the Washington Post Educational Board, how they were like, socialism is terrible, and the comment section was amazing, with a person from Sweden commenting, saying for the New York City mayoral race, it's free buses and socialism all the way down.
Yeah. It's just winning that primary has lit some fires under some people. So it's funny how just little things start piling up can get you there.
It's because Mamdani managed to beat back corporate Democrats and AIPAC.
Yes. And Israel's done lost the long game. They've lost a majority of the American people, and in my opinion, there's no going back. All their propaganda and branding and all this shit is in complete and utter failure. Maybe if they decided to go door to door hunting down folks, maybe things would have been a little different than the indiscriminate bombing campaign that they've ran. So they did it to themselves. And
You know you got problems when even the Israeli news media says you got problems.
Yeah. Yeah. So right here we got Jim. If socialism is destined to fail, why does the U.S. feel the need to meddle in socialist nations instead of just letting it fail itself? I, what does a Jim sound like? If socialism is destined, which is funny how because he he's the new Jack Ryan, right? So and
He wasn't even that good of a
Mr.
Jack Ryan either.
Krasinski there. Yeah, he's all over U.S. military and CIA movies nowadays. This is pretty funny. Smooth SpongeBob. Democrats fighting Donald Trump. And then we got beefed out, laser-eyed SpongeBob. Democrats fighting Zoran Mondani.
Oh yeah, that's the I was talking to my brother about this, and we're like, this was such a terrible move by the Democratic establishment. It's like,
Yeah,
let's back a sexual predator.
vote blue no matter who, y'all.
Yeah, and then
Stick to that.
And they're still trying to figure out how to not really let Mamdani win because there's a split occurring. And who was it? Who's the New York senator who went on a racist rant?
Gillibrand.
Or Gillibrand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least it'll be easy to see who's paid off by APAC.
She wasn't the only senator. I think our Mr. Tubbs. I still ain't got a good nickname for him.
Oh, I'm like the MAGA people, Republican Party, just went off the deep end and was just like, let's go straight to Islamophobia, mask off.
Yeah,
it was like, it's very reminiscent of like post 9/11.
Yeah, and once again, all their like they've done played out like they done played out all their propaganda and lies and whatnot. Like we just saw this shit. Everybody's grown up with it, in the past 20 plus years, and it's just played out.
Yeah, it's Islamophobia is done. I mean, so is Middle Eastern adventure. Intervention.
I like how they do like to use that word adventure when describing foreign policy. Right here we got know the work rules. We got our boy Elon Sieg Heiling with Heil Hitler and appropriate. Oh, you're sweet. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and then we got Mr. Mamdani here, Free Palestine. Hello, ICE. Yeah, there's calls to deport him and denaturalize him as a citizen.
Which Republican representative was it that started it?
Mike Lee, maybe?
It was one of them, but like his answers to, I mean, he was on Colbert on the Late Show, and I think he was there with Lander, who was the third place person in the race.
Yeah,
he was one of the highest Jewish people in the up there. Yeah. He's the comptroller.
Right.
So it's kind of set up just to kill the ability for them to ask those questions.
Yeah, and took the took the sting out ain't right, but took the wind out the sails on that type of talk for sure. Uh, Here's a classic MAGA hat, angry mayonnaise noises. I think right here, this is this is the Democrats' probable plan to deal with Mr. Mamdani. We got Nancy Pelosi. We must find the next generation of Democratic leadership, charismatic and exciting candidates who can energize the party, people that voters love because they're not 80 years old and sold out to big capital. Chuck Schumer behind sniper rifle. Found one. Pelosi, take the shot.
Yeah, yeah. The Democratic Party has really screwed itself over.
Well, some of them.
Well, like, here's the thing. There's a double standard in the Democratic Party. If a centrist gets elected and screws up, then they're just a bad candidate. If a progressive wins and screws up, then it's bad for the entire Progressive Party.
Yeah. I did like how none of those New Yorkers in office up there, I think maybe one, well, AOC, of course, but maybe one out. Form Cook didn't, Hakeem didn't, and then
They all
several others didn't.
They all congratulated him, but they did not actually endorse him.
Yeah, or did they congratulate him? That was new then, because article I read they were like no comment on it. So
they were congratulating him, but keeping him at arm's length. Then there's the other group that's saying we don't like him.
Yeah, quite a few Democratic politicians have gone out of their way not to endorse him when asked if they endorse him, including Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer.
AOC gave him a hug for winning, which was very wholesome. Like, the Democratic Party is just being freaking stupid at this point, because he didn't just win. He won by 10 to 12% after the ranked choice voting is finished.
Well, I don't know. It's like I think we sometimes, like, they're not being stupid, they're being bought, like that's just who all these motherfuckers are, is like they believe in eating the rich's ass, not eating the rich. Yeah. So we got young Obi-Wan. You said you would destroy the fascists, not join them. Terrible. Democrats, 128 Democrats join House GOP to block progressive bid to impeach.
Yeah.
We hit on that on Slop last week about how doing the right thing is always the right thing, even if you're going to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I saw it, and like, the Democratic leadership has just been freaking terrible.
Yeah, but like, that's the thing, is like, can't call it incompetence, really. Their strategy or whatever is failing, and they've weakened themselves over the last 20 plus years to where they're like, now they're susceptible, socialism and socialism and working class folks being able to hijack their shit now. Like, oh, what's up, Marissa? It's always good to have you. Thank you to be here. Thank you to be here. What the fuck does that mean? Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you. That's if there's anybody professional in this podcast, it's Jason. He can actually
That's not
speak
true.
English.
I wasn't trying to correct you or anything. I was just trying to say to Marissa, thank you for being here.
So
Well,
the
I take corrections at any point. They're well received.
so the Democratic strategy is geriatric at its core, and they would rather listen to James Carville than their actual base.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. So moving on, I got a few more memes, but I've been told by the young ones that too many words is not a meme worthiness. So I'm going to skip those, but and move on to the conspiracy of the week, which comes from I've seen it in other places, but this People's Voices, yeah, they're they're like the ivermectin crowd, but Iran releases proof Israel is planning false flag to spark World War III, which uh, yeah, a chilling new report suppressed by the mainstream media reveals that Israel may be plotting a catastrophic false flag attack on American soil, eerily reminiscent motive to drag the U.S. into another series of forever wars in the Middle East, this time starting with Iran. Uh, and yeah, the news article that this like came from that I saw was from the Tehran Times, but they didn't publish anything. They just like it was two paragraphs or whatever. But Iran hacked Israel before slash during the bombings that just occurred, but none of that's been released, or uh, some of it has been released, or at least the titles of what they what data that they exfiltrated, but I haven't seen any like actual data itself. You know what I'm saying? So like, uh, among them, blueprints for cyber warfare, targeted assassinations, blackmail material, and even the unthinkable, the Samson option, Israel's doomsday doctrine to blow up the entire world with a nuclear holocaust if their own survival is ever threatened. So, is this plausible? You know, uh, the target being the USS Nimitz, a 50-year-old aircraft carrier set for retirement next year, has been deployed to the Middle East. But why now? We know why. Why send an aging warship into a high stakes conflict zone? Some are asking, is this a setup? Could Nimitz be a sacrificial pawn, a floating bait gift wrap for Israel to sink, then blame on Iran? A move designed to manufacture consent for the all-out war. So, like, Israel hit false flags do. There is a history of it. So, like, and if you want the United States, like, to do this, right? Like, you would want a 9/11-esque type of event to try to uh, get the ball rolling, right? So remember the USS Liberty? This is like 1967. Israel opened fire on American survivors as they floated helplessly in life rafts, using unmarked planes to hide their tracks, goal to leave no witnesses, and drag the USS into another war on its behalf. So, yeah. So there is history there, with false flags from uh, from Jeffrey Sachs. He speaks a lot. He's a Jewish American. He speaks at the UN and the European Union. I told Tucker Carlson this week, U.S. gave away its foreign policy to Israel for mysterious reasons. The results have been devastating. It goes on a little bit more. Again, this is from the ivermectin folks. So like, grain of salt. But also there's a 22-year-old that has been installed as, talk about lack of experience with Mamdani, but 22-year-old in installed an anti-terrorism lead.
At DHS. I know who you're referring to.
Yeah, it's not Big Balls, but like it's one of his buddies, I'm sure. There's some, and again, this as far as false flag attacks, I can't stand on the veracity of all these claims, but I do know that Israel created false flag attacks in Arab countries to drive Jewish folks out of those countries. They bombed like British embassies and stuff like that. Right here, it mentions the USS Liberty in June 67 with the intention of sinking the ship with no survivors to blame Egypt. And there's other things. 83 truck bomb kills 241 Marines in the barracks in Beirut. This has been blamed on Iran at various times. You look here and it says Israel was trying to do it or knew about it and just let it happen. And this is on the inteldrop.org. But again, I cannot claim all these are true. I have not researched every single one of these, but they at least did it once. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, if you want to get the U.S. into a war with Iran, a 9/11-esque event with a 22-year-old leading counterterrorism would be a great way to do it. And a reminder that Anonymous dropped a video a couple weeks ago that said that they had information that a false flag attack was on its way to the United States. I don't know if any of y'all saw that video.
Yeah, I take the viewpoint that the U.S. is already in a war with Iran at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been like basically a Cold War with Iran since '79, effectively.
Yeah, and the like, even if I found the Congress complaining about how I didn't have a say in the declaring war to be adorable. Because if I'm being real, I think if I had gone to a vote in Congress, they would have authorized it.
Yeah, very possibly. Well, the Republicans and Democrats seem very unified on at least foreign policy and definitely some domestic policy stuff as well.
That's because there was a recent article, I'm trying to remember where it was from, that showed that about 300 congressional members across the House were influenced by AIPAC.
Yeah.
In terms of funding.
AIPAC, J Street, ADL, all effectively foreign agents of the Israeli government, in my opinion,
It was from The Intercept in October 2014.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out The Intercept.
Because it was it's reputable. Let me paste it in the chat.
Well, that's it for the conspiracy of this week. And with that, we're going to go into this week in socialist history. Oh my God, where is it? Did I do good? I think I did good this week on this week in socialist history. Jay, you got anything this week that came to your perusal?
Yesterday was the 54th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, which gave birth to the modern LGBTQ movement. And I want to have a special remembrance for Marsha P. Johnson, who was the activist who threw a brick at the police and kicked off the riots.
See that your nickname is appropriate, Bricks.
Yeah, bricks.
So yeah, I actually had that on my list as well. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Queens / Marjorie Taylor Greene's protest going on, and it got on the news. The Our protest organizer actually got that line in on one of the news videos. This is the anniversary of the Stonewall riots. Yeah, which started to usher in the LGBTQ. Not that it wasn't before, but definitely brought the LGBTQ movement to the forefront of civil rights. Yeah.
I saw that the national park was closing DC's DuPont Circle Park.
What'd they close that for?
Because it's the end of Pride Month.
So they were trying to keep people out because is there usually there's a celebration there or something?
Usually there's an unofficial celebration there. Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. But real quick on the Stonewall riots, or simply known as Stonewall, is a series of spontaneous riots and demonstrations against a police raid that took place in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969 at the Stonewall Inn in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of Lower Manhattan in New York City. Although the demonstrations were not the first time American LGBTQ people fought back against the government-sponsored persecution of minorities, the Stonewall riots marked a new beginning for the gay rights movement in the United States and around the world.
The whole
fire riots.
Apparently, the Stonewall Inn was owned by the Genovese crime family.
Oh.
And it was a real dive bar, but it was the only bar that allowed dancing, which was the big draw.
Oh yeah.
Police raided it, and the community stood up for itself and fought back.
I can't believe that they raided a mafia bar. Oh, yeah. Marissa here says at the root float today in Pride featured a cardboard brick and a sign that said "Remember your roots," with a picture of a brick flying. That is, as the kids say, peak. I believe I used that term. I believe that I used that correctly. Yeah. That's one of the new ones out there. I think Based is now dated at its peak now. Yeah.
Oh, but I still like Based.
I like Based more.
I like Based as well. Let's see here. So some other things this week in socialist history. We got here we go. On the 23rd, the French National Guard mutiny during a call to repress working class rebellion in 1848. Found a little article on libcom.org that goes into this in more detail. I'm not going to read all this to you, but basically, the army supported the working class. How's that sound? How's that sound to y'all? Radicalize your local National Guard armory, folks. You know, go flyer them, something, you know. Yeah. On the 24th, uh, and this, we have a general strike in El Salvador against U.S. backed right wing death squads. Another article here, stories.workingclasshistory.com. Let's see.
I wish I could share a picture of the ATR float. I saw a picture of the At the Root float today. It looked really good.
Okay. But yeah, 2-day general strike began in El Salvador, protesting against the U.S.-backed military dictatorship and its counterinsurgency death squads. Look up Coca-Cola death squads, folks. You can check out more on that. On the 25th, the Free Labor Standards Act of 1938 passes, which creates a right to a minimum wage, a time and a half overtime pay when people work over 40 hours, prohibits employment of minors in oppressive child labor, and it applies to employees engaged in interstate commerce or employed by an enterprise engaged in commerce or in the production of goods for commerce, unless the employer can claim an exemption from coverage. The act was enacted by the 75th Congress and signed into law by FDR in 38. And we're seeing a return of child labor. I think
Florida was trying to do it.
Yes. And I think they hit some failure on that. And we got Huckabee Sanders up there in Arkansas, who's trying to also usher in some child labor laws. So, and there was some pushback this year by some unions and some Alabama Arise against some child labor stuff that I think found success, if I recall correctly. But yeah, you know, the children yearn for the mines, and those Republicans are working hard. This is one place where the Democrats and the Republicans diverge is child labor. So, yeah,
because they, by going after all of the immigrant labor, they're like, what? How do we fill the voids that is leaving?
exactly. We'll use children, exactly. Young, strong backs, and you know that's something that's funny happened. All these small farms and stuff their labor's gone effectively, and which, you know, in my opinion, is part of the plan. As JD Vance is he's got this app called Acre Trader that he's invested in, which goes around scooping up bankrupt farms and stuff. And I tell you what, cutting all the subsidies and programs and grants and workers that these small farms rely on to provide food for the nation is a good way to increase shareholder value.
Did you see that there's a new tool being rolled out by DHS for citizen tracking?
I have not.
The article came out today. My dad sent it over to me.
Oh, well, maybe drop it in the private chat, and we'll try to get to it when we get to the articles and rundown.
It's a very long article, yeah.
Oh, goodness.
It's about like maybe 3-4 pages.
Oh, and maybe we hit the highlights. Also with, or maybe we save it for slop. We come back on Wednesday and do some
yeah.
slop with us on national and international stuff. By the way, if you're out there, like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things. Thank you. Also on the 26th, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, wins the Democratic congressional primary in New York District 14 in 2018. Yeah, DSA member, and somebody who's mostly saying and doing the right things, but could probably tighten up her game on a few issues. But also, I think Mom Donnie got her endorsement, and I think that probably helped bump him a little bit as well. But
Well,
yeah, she's only elected 6 years ago, and yeah, age 35 currently. We've got two more things. We've got uh, Emma Goldman was born on the 27th of this month in 1869, an anarchist feminist orator and writer, and I'd also say strategist as well. Was a Russian-born anarchist, revolutionary, political activist, and writer. She played a pivotal role in the development of anarchist political philosophy in North America and Europe in the first half of the 20th century. She was attracted to anarchism after the Chicago Haymarket Affair. Goldman became a writer and a renowned lecturer on anarchist philosophy, women's rights, and social issues, attracting crowds of thousands. She and anarchist writer Alexander Birkin, her lover and lifelong friend, planned to assassinate industrialist and financier Henry Clay Frick as an act of propaganda of the deed. Frick survived the attempt on his life in 1892, and Berkman was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Goldman was imprisoned several times in the years that followed for inciting to riot and illegally distributing information about birth control. In 1906, Goldman found the anarchist journal Mother Earth. So check her out. There's a good podcast on her with Cool People Do Cool Things. Podcast has I think a double episode on her. So yeah, and the 28th we already mentioned the Stonewall, and on the 29th Richard Casement. He's not French, so I think I got it right. Roger Casement, gay anti-imperialist activist, sentenced to death for his part in the Easter Risings, 1916. And yeah, Roger David Casement, also known as Sir Roger Casement, CMG, between 1911 and 1916, was a diplomat in Irish national executed by the United Kingdom for treason during World War One. He worked for the British Foreign Office as a diplomat, becoming known as a humanitarian activist and later as a poet and Easter Rising leader. Described as the father of the 20th century human rights investigations, he was honored in 1905 for the Casement Report on the Congo Free State and knighted in 1911 for his important investigation of human rights abuses in the rubber industry in Peru. So yeah, that's this week in socialist history. Shout out to all. Anybody got anything else before we move on to a couple other things?
Read up on Marsha P. Johnson. I think if you're interested in an inspiring life story.
Where was she? Who was she with? The
Stonewall riots.
I was about to say the Stonewall riots. Okay. We shall certainly do such things. So a couple of events and some trainings coming up. This is some national training. by Surge, Standing Up for Racial Justice, Calling In, Not Out, a skill for white people to organize our own with Loretta Ross. And that's going to be July 2nd, 8 to 9 Eastern, which is 7 to 8 Central. But yeah, calling in versus calling out isn't just a one-on-one practice. It's a strategic orientation to help us defeat authoritarianism and build the world we need. As millions of people across the country experience uncertainty and instability, some for the first time, we have a responsibility to turn towards these folks, meet them in their fears, and invite them into the work of justice. This is a particularly urgent role for white people. So yeah, check that out. Let's see here. What else we got here? Where are you? Oh goodness. See, I was flowing, dog. I was flowing, and now I'm not flowing. We got this. Here we go. Young man lost his life to cop violence. And there's a candlelight vigil for Jabari Peoples Monday, June 30th at 6:30 Central at the Homewood Soccer Park at South Lakeshore Drive, Birmingham, Alabama 35261. Hashtag Jabari Latrell Peoples. And this is put on by Black Lives Matter. And there's going to be other groups there supporting them. But yeah, and he lost his life near Lakeshore. I think on Lakeshore, as a matter of fact. So if you're in the area, please show your support to the family as they work on trying to get the body cam footage and deal with this absolute tragedy. Yeah. And I think that's all in the events and training I got confirmed this week, but we might have more on Wednesday. We'll probably have more on Wednesday. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's going to bring us into our articles before we hit the rundown. We've got where are you? Oh no, where are you? Article. Oh goodness. Too many tabs. Where are you? So we're going to start, Jay, we're going to start with your article. That's what I'm trying to find. If you just want to start talking.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to post it in the private chat here so you can find it. Basically, so a new report reveals that nearly half of Alabama households struggle to afford basic living costs. So above and beyond the 324,705 Alabama households that live in poverty, that's 16% of Alabama's population living in poverty. There's an additional 30% that fall into what they call the ALICE category. And ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, Employed. So these are people who earn above the federal poverty level, but below what's needed to cover basic household costs. So if you add 30 to 16, you get 46% of Alabamians are earning below what researchers call this ALICE threshold of financial survival. Like they're working and they're struggling to afford basic necessities.
So yeah, that's and we could probably add on to that, right? Like, nationally we're at 70% are living paycheck to paycheck. We're probably around there as a state living paycheck to paycheck, right? Because all these folks are paycheck to paycheck at 46%. Yeah. So like, it's still not, it's still not there's still data that's not being captured or not being conveyed, Like, I do not believe it's only 40%, 46% of the state is struggling. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and there are situations where the numbers look even worse. So the youngest households under 25 and 65, the oldest households 65 plus, experience the highest rates of hardship at 74% and 53% respectively. So you're talking about 25, so under 25, 74% of them are falling below this average threshold. They are working and not able to afford the basics. So racial disparities were evident, with 61% of Black households and 52% of Hispanic households falling below the Alice threshold, compared to 40% of white households. Single female-headed families with children face the greatest challenges, with 82% below the threshold, compared to 18% of married parent families. 82%. So so capitalism is failing in America to provide the basic needs of at least half the population of Alabama.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to participate in democracy if you're working yourself to death.
Yeah. And that's part of the plan, ain't it? Between that and voter suppression and, no early voting and no voting holiday. It's a good way to keep the working class from the voting booth and making things a bit better there. But that is so atrocious. Single female headed families with children at 82%. Oh my God.
Below the Alice threshold. I mean, this is why we organize, folks. This is why capitalism has got to go.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be in the 90s with single female headed families, paycheck to paycheck, right? Like,
I mean, yeah, if you want to add that additional on top of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, basically, new people in the workforce, or people who are just coming out of college, are just screwed.
Yeah. Unless they got that silver spoon up their ass, all them folks will be fine. But they're all, what's that? Maybe 10% of graduates or young folks probably fall into that category. So we're reaching a head materially, condition wise, on all this stuff. This is atrocious.
Yeah, Alabamians that we can reach out to and say, "Hey, this economic system is failing you. You're working, you're doing everything you're supposed to do, and you're not able to afford the basics to live."
Yeah. Like, recruit, y'all. It looks like we need to be recruiting every single mother out there, and probably, I'm curious what the single father rate is by comparison. You know what I mean? But I'm sure just recruit single parents, right? Yeah. Morgan, I'm going to mute you while you're typing, dog. So just unmute yourself at any point. Okay.
This article lit a fire under me, and it says, "Okay, I've got to start working smarter because this is an unacceptable situation." You're talking about at least half the population and more when you break that down into more vulnerable groups of people.
Yeah. The richest nation in the history of the world we say can't, and that's not true. It's willful. This is willful policy designed against working class people.
I was pulling up the statistics for what the average income is for a single father in Alabama. It's $60,000.
Single father,
Which is
that'll
still
be low for sure, but I would guess that is above the Alice threshold, right? Because the Alice threshold's at what, 40,000? It said. No,
The article didn't say. I don't think.
Annual. Okay. For a family of 4 with 2 adults, an infant, and a preschooler, the average annual cost of household basics in Alabama was $76,000 in 2023, more than double the federal poverty level of $30,000. So, yeah, they're still under. They get one less adult in the situation, but $60,000 for you and 2 kids does not go very far, especially when you're looking at like average rents are 1,500, probably somewhere in that neighborhood, most places, which is, $18,000 a year, minus taxes. They give you that 60,000, but that's not minus 30% on taxes, right? Plus taxes, sales tax and grocery tax and everything else. So that gets chipped away at pretty fast. They definitely ain't going on no vacations unless they're going camping somewhere. But yeah, this is absolutely disgusting and atrocious. And just makes me sick to my stomach.
And every one of these people think it's their fault that they're struggling, or not every single one, but some number of them are like, "Oh, I can't make ends meet." Like this is, and they feel like failures, and like the emotional impact of it. Like these are human lives.
Yeah, like you can do everything right and still fail.
Yeah, the E in Alice stands for employment. Like these are not that anybody who's not working deserves to be in poverty, but these are people who are like, people would say, oh, they need to get a job, they need to lift up themselves by their bootstraps. But these are people who are working and doing essential, useful jobs, like working as teachers and healthcare providers and retail staff.
Yeah, it's yes, thank you, Marissa. It does sound like we have a demographic to focus political education on. Completely agree. And yeah, to your point, like it and speaks on, right, like how they're lazy or what have you. These are working folks, working hard. I bet you some of them are working 2 jobs. I bet you, a very non-zero amount are working 3 jobs and 60-ish hours a week, if not 80. You got those bankers up there, they talk about their like 80-hour work weeks or whatever. Well, they're all coked up and getting paid in the millions, or at least the hundreds of thousands for those gigs. And yeah. Ugh. So, and the research suggests that bringing all Alabama households to the Alice threshold would require $19.8 billion, which researchers argue could stimulate economic growth through increased consumer spending and tax revenue. That's some Keynesian economics right there.
Yeah, even the most milk water socialist policies are not actually that controversial.
Yeah. Well, it's common sense. You invest in people, you take care of people, good things happen.
Yeah.
What is it? anti-abortion activists, how many uh, Einsteins or Mozarts are being murdered in the womb. Well, how many Mozarts and Einsteins are already alive that just will not be able to overcome the circumstances that they've been born into and the circumstances their parents fight through, right?
Yeah, they're so focused on their religious zealotry of no abortions that they don't actually care about what happens after the kid is born.
Yeah. No. Well, we got something to do, folks. Find these single parent families and start giving them some education and empowerment and building some mutual aid structures to help them help their families, right?
Yeah. And to me, this is the important reminder about why we fight, and all the propaganda about how capitalism produces the most wealth for the most people and all these other things that they say. Like we live in a state with a 50% poverty rate effectively.
Yeah. I think we live in a nation with a 70% poverty rate, because I can't, paycheck to paycheck, to me that's poverty, like
Right. Like this.
one missed paycheck, one blown tire, one bad medical issue, one just teetering on the edge between from survival to decimation, or not decimation, but I'm, not the Roman decimation, the
And
more modern decimation, obliteration. How about that? They were talking about all the obliteration they did this past week. They're obliterating the working class. So, well,
and desperate
any
people.
final?
Well, desperate people can't take risks. They can't.
Mm.
They're more likely or less likely to participate in union activity because they have more to lose.
Yeah. And they certainly can't tell their boss to go fuck themselves if they're being mistreated, which they deserve that mistreatment. But yeah, so we're gonna switch over to the Trump administration is building a national citizenship data system. This is from NPR, and is Morgan. Morgan, you read through this, yeah?
I read through some of it. It's a walking privacy violation.
Yeah.
So it's gonna it's gonna enable ICE to quickly check a person's social security number to see if they're a citizen. It's a state-sponsored surveillance tool.
Yeah. Right in line with Doge and Palantir and the Supreme Court's ruling this week on birthright citizenship, and we'll probably talk about that this week in Slop. But yeah,
it's from a privacy perspective, it's an abomination.
Yeah, it's an assault on all fronts, folks. I'm trying to brainstorm as we talk about it, how it's going to be misused. We got This is cute. Taking that burden of proof, if you will, off the voter is a good thing, says Wyman, who also worked for the Department of Homeland Security on election issues in the Biden administration.
Yeah, I mean, if like this is the double standard. This is like where they want a national voter registration system so that you can have a voter ID card, but they don't want to give you a voter ID card because that would make it so that everybody is on the same playing field when it comes to voting.
Right. They would definitely use this tool to find some way of denying people. Sort by black people. Check all no voting. Right.
Yeah.
Boom. So yeah. Oh. And this is being spearheaded by DHS.
It's being spearheaded by U.S. CIS.
USCIS.
Customs and Immigration Service. Immigration Services. That's effectively ICE.
So this is where it comes back to all the propaganda about, election. What do they call it? Not forgery. But
Fraud.
Yes, thank you. Election fraud.
Yeah, it's that. It's like where they keep saying that there's widespread election fraud, even though there's been maybe like 60 reported cases.
Yeah, it's incredibly few, and every time I see something about election fraud, it's always a Republican that seems to be doing it. I think I saw one case of, I saw one case of election fraud, but it was like from somebody who was told, like in Florida, that their voting rights were reinstated, but they didn't go through. I think they were incarcerated previously, and they thought that they could vote, but they missed some paperwork to be able to vote again. Like you have to like actually apply for your right to vote again. So yeah. It's
the problem with this system is that Doge put it together. It's a walking privacy violation, and they don't even know if the data is accurate.
Right.
Also, like you can put systems make a system any way you want. However, it comes in the case of, okay, what are you actually using the system for?
Right. And this is not going to be, it is not going to be used to make sure there's free, quote unquote, free and fair elections.
No, they don't want that. They want to use a system such that they can find any excuse possible to deny a person's ability to vote.
Yeah. So buckle up.
The naive person's use case would be if a person moves from one state to another state and they can check voting rolls. But that's like maybe like one or two actual good use cases.
Well, as Trump said, you'll never have to vote again. Never vote again. So yeah, shout out the midterms and look forward to dealing with this during the midterms, because they seem to be rolling it out in time to get themselves there.
Wait, can you scroll back up? I want to see. There's something about Palantir.
Oh! Where did we see it?
Go back down slowly.
Yeah, I mean Palantir is working on the national like.
Oh wait, yeah, that's the effort to centralize all the various databases and give access to Palantir.
Yeah, the Panopticon. What's the next Lord of the Rings titled technology tool that's going to be shoved up our asses is the question. So yeah,
I mean, what's kind of funny is that the Republicans already know they're going to lose the midterms. They actually wanted Texas to redistrict itself.
yeah, I saw North Carolina has like 60% Dem voters, and it's like 40% but only 40% of offices are won in North Carolina. So like, yeah, the free and fair elections. I don't think we've ever had one, to be honest. But hey, maybe that's just me. So yeah, any final thoughts on this? Oh yeah. Marissa points out, in addition, we have SB 63, which passed this year, that allows law enforcement to collect DNA of undocumented immigrants to put in a database. Yeah. They started pioneering this stuff with the war on terror, you know, in the early 2000s. So, you know, as we see things so much like cops militarization, and now we're seeing effectively the militarization of other in other spheres and veins and whatnot. So yeah, any final thoughts before we blow through some articles?
I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing.
All right. Silent is consent, folks. Remember that. But y'all did speak up, and I appreciate it. So yeah, we're gonna start. We're just gonna. We got a lot of headlines, and you know, just poke your head in at your leisure, and also there's some contact info. I love my final thought is the NPR reporter right here on being able to get with them and on encrypted channels and whatnot. Yeah. So shout out whistleblowers. So yeah, I want to start with Caroline Dobson announces campaign for Secretary of State. She was the great granddaughters of slave owners, ran again, and she's joining Andrew Sorrell in the Republican primary, but she ran against figures down there in South Alabama. So she's running for another office, and she's a millionaire, and you know, can't have enough of them. Let's get some more. Yeah. We've got, where do we go? You're not rendering. PCI chair talks gambling, potential tribal growth, and helping Alabamians. CEO Stephanie Bryan said PCI is growing rapidly, but that the tribe remains focused on Alabama and helping the people of the state. This is Porch Band of Creek Indians. My bad. So yeah, they seem pretty libbed up to me. At least libbed up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, well, there's a big push for gambling from among Democrats in Alabama, and it seems to be a popular issue. Like I think a lot of people want, or I think a majority of people want there to be public voting on gambling.
I want a card table in every city. I want to play some poker, not just in the darkened halls of the backstreet alleys. Yeah,
Yeah, this is one of those weird issues where it's like gambling is a tax on poverty, it's a tax on hope. It targets people at the bottom. But at the other hand, like I personally love to gamble.
yeah.
So
Well, and I think like it's a bad move to prohibit human experience. You know what I'm saying? And gambling has been around probably as long as we've had caves. You know, they probably shook rocks around, bet on, you know, yeah. So like, this goes hand in hand with like drug use, in my opinion. So yeah, and the state definitely loses revenue from like apps that are nationwide now that you can gamble on wherever you are. They put a block on porn in this state, but they sure didn't put a block on the gambling apps that are available nationwide. uh, we've got the Muslim Civil Rights Award condemns Tuberville for anti-Islam comments. Controversial comments amid rising anti-Muslim incidents stirred strong condemnation from a leading Muslim civil rights group. So, interview with right-wing pundit Benny Johnson, the Benny Show. He sounds so cute, doesn't he?
That's not a right wing show. He's a alt-right Nazi-like figure.
Call it like it is, huh? I feel you, dog. Yeah, they're giving him way too much leeway. He's got the haircut too, from what I saw.
Yeah, he's got the right wing like Nazi haircut.
Yeah, so we got right wingers being Islamophobic, and then we got other right wingers in the Democratic Party, quote, being anti-Semitic. So this is all a fun contrivance, but yeah. It says the highest rate the group has been compiling data since 1996, 7.4% increase from 2023. Oh man, we are at an all-time high. That those racists are working hard.
Yeah, the reason to just call Benny Johnson for what he is that he walks and talks in those kind of misogynist and sexist circles.
He was on your chart that you made, your network.
Yep, he was.
Yeah, we need to revisit that and keep it updated and flowing. I was actually looking at the right wing rags, white ring wags. Well, you know what I'm saying. The ownership of those, like Yellowhammer, and there's another one, AL Politics, 1819, and maybe we talk about a little bit of that. Senator Britt introduces the Golden Dome legislation, develop modernized layered homeland missile defense system, authorizing over $23 billion for this initiative, which, sure. Britt, Kramer from North Dakota, Sullivan, Alaska, several Senate Republican colleagues introduced the Ground and Orbital Launched Defeat of Emergent Nuclear Destruction and Other Missile Engagements Act. Golden Dome. Man, they worked hard to reverse engineer that from
do
Trump.
an actual, yeah.
So from tweet to legislation. That's how it works, folks. You get a good idea, and then then you create some legislation for it, and then poof. But yeah, 23 billion sounds pretty cheap as to what it'll cost.
Oh no.
And
That's just the like prototype amount.
You're nailing my point.
So the actual cost is like $500 billion.
Oh God. Oh.
Wait. Like, give me a minute. I'll actually get the actual cost.
We're gonna hit this real quick. We'll come back to that cost. We got a op-ed from Brian Lyman. The Alabama Democratic Party can't afford to write off 2026. It goes into Tuberville running for governor and what are the Democrats in the state going to do, and how their last candidate, Flowers, as he put, Flowers failed to convey a clear position on abortion. I don't know. I think her position was pretty clear. And fundraising was so poor that the Libertarian nominee for governor pulled in more direct contributions. I got a suggestion. Why don't we ask Mom Donnie to move the fuck down here and run for governor? Yeah. But
okay. So, like 5 minutes of research later, the cost of Golden Dome is between 160 to 540 billion for the next 20 years. So, call it 25 billion per year.
Sounds like a deal.
Sounds like a forever project that can support the defense industrial complex.
Yeah, they talk about Iran. Even if Iran had nukes, they couldn't reach us. So, but whatever.
Yeah, like the only countries that have nukes and that are actual, like, U.S. actually considers adversaries is Russia, China, and North Korea.
Yeah, I would put North Korea on the iffy, as their missiles do not look consistent.
No, they don't.
Yeah. So yeah. But it says former U.S. Who's the top of the ticket for the Dems? Senator Doug Jones, former Chief Justice Sue Bell Cobb, Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Maddox, Birmingham Mayor Randall Whitfin, Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed, Charles Barkley. Maybe it's Will Boyd, a declared Democratic gubernatorial candidate, but he struggled to raise money in his previous contests. So, yeah, maybe start with the policies and then find a candidate that will fit those policies. But I have little doubt that currently the Alabama Democrats will fuck it up.
Well, you actually have to have a platform and policy, consistent policies.
Yeah, well, 99% of the state is working class. Maybe do those policies. Maybe a state level minimum wage is a good start.
That sounds like socialism. We can't have that.
No.
Yeah, like there needs to be a clearly articulated, if you vote for me, I will do X for you, or at least I will try.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything like that coming out of the Democratic Party in Alabama.
No, just the same old. And looks like they're starting to struggle in former strongholds of the Democratic Party as well. We got Alabama nonprofits urge congressional delegation to vote against the Trump budget. Politicians and several nonprofits advocated for those affected by poverty Thursday urged Alabama's congressional delegation to vote against the budget reconciliation bill under consideration in the U.S. Senate. We've got representatives from Alabama Arise, Alabama Poor People's Campaign, said proposed reductions to Medicaid and SNAP would make it more difficult for state residents to fucking live. I'm ad-libbing there. So, yeah, this budget's not just numbers, it's a moral document. Reverend Valtoria Jackson of Montgomery, lead organizer for the Alabama Poor People's Campaign, So maybe we need to get in touch with Miss Jackson there. Yeah, that should be an action item for us. And it goes on talking about the bill and yeah, some more bad news. Governor Kay Ivey's execution date for David Lee Roberts. Set an August execution date, who was convicted of murder of Anetra Jones in Marion County in April 92. Roberts, 59, is scheduled to be put to death August 21st by nitrogen gas. He is the fourth person the state will put to death this year and the third using that method of execution. So, yeah. We here are anti-death penalty. Join the club. But does not look very good for Mr. Roberts. So this, I read through this one here. Alabama Beach mayors face rare election challenges in 2025. And I couldn't glean any policies out of pretty much any of it. But you got one guy, Keenan, here that's been in Orange Beach for 17 years, and the mayor pro tem, Jeff Boyd, is running against him. They're probably more cut of the same cloth. And then there's another battle going on. Where is it? In Gulf Shores. This guy, Kraft, 73. The other guy was 68. I don't know if I said that. But yeah, he's got a challenger. Swiger, 62, who is on the Baldwin County School Board for 11 years. So maybe they're better. But yeah, I couldn't glean any policies from this article, but these local elections are coming up fast, folks, starting around August through November. Run for office. Speaking of a little earlier, the budget bill, Katie Britt on Trump's big, beautiful budget, accountability needed for SNAP and Medicaid, which just means cutting it, right?
Right. In that article we were reading earlier, it said that only 17% of people living below the ALIS threshold had access to SNAP because of the income requirements. So they're making too much money to qualify for SNAP, but not enough to be able to afford the basics. And
I when I was homeless, I applied for SNAP, and they gave me $5 a month. So, I can attest to that.
That is an insult. What are you going to do with $5 a month?
Well, if there's a deal on Monsters, I could get 3 for $5. Yeah, or
It's not even enough for ramen.
barely enough for a couple packs of ramen. Right now, you can't even get a bag of chips for $5, like down at the Piggly Wiggly. Like, yeah. So, and it will also put Alabama on the hook for $300 million to continue the program, which I would have very low confidence in Alabama continuing that program. And hey, not just Islamophobia from Tubber Nuts. Also in that Benny Johnson interview, they skipped this part, but Tuberville's rat talk isn't just racist; it's a warning. Yeah.
Tuberville called human beings rats and said they need to be deported. Inner city rats is his exact words. And this just shows you how far the Overton window has shifted. Because I have to feel like 10, 20 years ago, this would be a career-ending statement.
Yeah, absolutely. this writer here, Kyle Whitmere. Earlier this week, I wrote about my belief that Bernie Bros and MAGA Trump supporters are more similar than they are different. Ding, 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 Kyle. Share many of the same frustration. Homes are priced out of reach. Mom Donnie, affordability, rental freeze on price, on rent freezes. Political influence is exclusive to those wealthy enough to make campaign donations. What's the Supreme Court decision that laid the groundwork for that? And higher education.
Citizens United.
Yes, thank you, Citizens United. And higher education is no longer worth the price of admission, which you mentioned earlier there, Morgan. But yeah, it went on the Benny Johnson show, and well, hey, should we hit a button?
I'm down for entertainment.
Chat, let's see if this button works.
Well, see, yeah, I mean, it seems like the time's already here, right? It's
Chat, help me upgrade my internet. All right, enough of those two fucking freaks, fascist motherfuckers. All right. But yeah, we've heard this sort of talk before in Nazi Germany and Rwanda or the pre-Civil War South, when powerful people refer to minorities as vermin, horrible things tend to follow. But I think he's more inclusive. I think he includes poor white motherfuckers up in that bitch. So yeah, that's my opinion. But,
I mean, you got the first step is humanizing people.
You got to degauze, dehumanize, do it all. But yeah, they start with the rhetoric, stochastic terrorism follows, and yeah, we get the mess we're in. This is some bittersweet, heartfelt, I don't know, but Alabama lawmaker hopes his wife's selfless life-saving act inspires others. But this is Anthony Daniels, who I have had the chance to meet before. I did a little rant on the Alabama Constitution, and he appreciated it. And I don't know if it was me, but not long after that, they did do those changes to the Alabama Constitution. So maybe it was me. I'm gonna fucking take that as a W. But his kidneys started to fail, and he mentioned that he had COVID 4 times, and is curious if it maybe that affected him. But his wife gave him one of her kidneys. So that's a pretty incredible story. But yeah, Alabama House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels of Huntsville and his wife Tanisha Daniels. So I'm glad they're okay. Because I don't know. I kind of like the dude, to be honest. And he's coping without pain medication because of the side effects it causes. Shout out the opioid epidemic in the Sackler family. And, goes in to a few things, but yeah, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad his wife's okay. And this, just from what an incredible couple, situation. Because I don't know how many people would give me their kidney. But yeah, glad they're okay. Not gonna read all of this one, but Mr. Mo Brooks has popped up with a little retired congressman Mo Brooks. Trump hit a hornet's nest in the Iran-America conflict is far from over. Well, no shit. But yeah, he goes on to do things. One of the one of my favorite little things that he did in this is every time he mentioned deceptions, he put in parentheses lies for some reason. But he goes on to question what happened and what's going on. But you know, little Satan Israel and great Satan the United States, and how death to America is not a slogan, it's an official policy, and you know, uh, Iran's Khomeini declares death to America means death to Trump and John Bolton and Mike Pompeo. And yeah, is it over? No, because Israel didn't get what they wanted. Not really.
I mean, Israel wants regime change in Iran.
Exactly.
However, they don't actually know what that means because, okay, let's just say for sake of amusement, I mean, it's terrible dark humor. Okay, you kill the supreme leader of Iran and decapitate the political leadership of the country. Now you have like 20 different ethnicities fighting each other with spillover into all the countries around them. And then you have a bunch of people who want to kill the Israelis, the US, and other people.
It's literally just Iraq and Afghanistan on repeat, you know.
It's Iraq. Iraq has like 4 different ethnicities. Iran has like 20. It's Iraq on steroids.
Maybe, or maybe it turns into a socialist state that takes over the entire Middle East region.
That would be hilarious.
We got regime change, not like that though.
Iran's much bigger than Iraq population.
Oh yeah, double the population, double the size geographically.
It's more mountainous geographically, and they've had 40 years to dig tunnels underneath all those mountains.
There's certainly a rule, at least in my opinion, a rule in war is mountain fighting bad. Yeah, like that's a good way to lose, is to try to fight mountain folks. Good way to lose. So yeah, let's see here. I got Alabama Supreme Court tosses activist $4 million lawsuit against Selma police over false arrest claim. This is she's actually an attorney, and her husband was in the state house, maybe the state senate, but basically there was a mayoral race in 2017, and all the black candidate signs were disappearing from public, and she scooped up one of the white candidate sign, and cops pulled her over, and yada yada yada. So like yada yada is the Supreme Court threw out the charge and gave immunity to the cop, and yeah, so justice not served. But in the article, it doesn't even really address the fact that, like, okay, so they're not supposed to be putting these signs on public property, yet they put it on public property. She took it off public property. The cop like pulled her over and all this shit, and they don't go back to the fact that, you know, like and it says she was stealing property, but like, you put a sign on public property, who are you stealing it from? You know what I mean? Like, how do you show possession or ownership of something like that? So this is a big clusterfuck, but and this is happening down in Selma. So yeah. So sorry that happened, but yeah, and she's been fighting it since 2017. So what year is this? So this is 8 years later. 8 years later. We got the beginning of the raids on CBD shops. Stuff becomes illicit in 2 days, July 1st. But they're already raiding shops for THC. They're saying it's not testing this, and these were in Troy, Enterprise, Clanton, Wetumpka, and Montgomery on Monday. So, yeah, all that THCA and hemp and all that stuff will be disappearing. So, yeah, and that's pretty much it on articles. Wow, we're faster than normal, but I did want to highlight a couple of other things. This right-wing rag alpolitics.com. They've got an event section that can help you keep up with things that they're doing out there, like Republican women of the black belt to meet John Merrill, some other events, but they got a little event section they keep up with. See, look, that bitch was featured. Moms for Liberty, Madison, and a host, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So a good place to keep up with the opposition, y'all.
We can be the Rusks except for Republicans.
Exactly. There's where's this other? Oh, where are you? We didn't get to talk about the events but there's our events, our Marjorie Taylor Queen's event and stuff. We didn't really hit that too hard this week. Let's try to mention it on Wednesday before we get into the international and national stuff, because there's a lot of headlines out there. And there was graffiti, and reporters weren't allowed into the event, and we got some good coverage and some not so good coverage. But here's another event, an evening of courage, the Albert Patterson Gala, an evening of courage with Tucker Carlson. Is that AI Tucker Carlson right there? Because that kind of looks like AI.
It looks like AI to me.
Yeah, it looks like AI.
So 1819 is proud to announce he'll be keynoting in the Albert Patterson Gala. And we got tickets, $25K for the round table, $25K with the Albert Patterson table, which, like, if you're going to spend $25K, why don't you spend $25K on that one? But, okay. $12K, $12.5 for a courage table, $7.5 for the 1819 news table, which is sold out, and $2,000 for a courage ticket, and $750 for a valor ticket. Okay. I question, like, wait, we got the courage ticket and then the courage table. And then valor is all the way down here on the bottom. You're incorrect.
Is this a case that if you purchase a valor or courage ticket, you don't actually get a table?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it? It sounds like you're in the stands.
Well, I mean, the entire purpose of this is to, like, schmooze and such.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And our Russian-funded Tucker Carlson anti-war based comrade.
I did see that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene were praising Mamdani.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, we got to talk about that on Wednesday. Then this is a headline from 1819 News. The communists are outside, but they call us fascists. Well, yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene defiant in Huntsville Moms for Liberty event. Yeah. Read it if you want. Don't read it. You're not gonna miss a whole lot. I saw his ass. And then we had Dale Strong there as well.
Wait, he's actually alive? I didn't think he was actually alive.
Right. Remember, folks, he's worth $22 million at least. And then some of the I think I figured out who the camera person was. But yeah, this is where it took place. It's time to boycott Stovetop. The Rusks were there.
Why would you? You're a beer cooperative. Why would you?
Stovehouse. what is it? Stovehouse, stovetop.
Stovetop Stovehouse. Why would you have something at Stovehouse when it's a cooperative?
Exactly. So yeah, they did show some good shots. I'll say that. But yeah, I look at you.
You being white.
So yeah, and just to finish up, we'll do a deeper dive on this at some point. But there's a couple wikis that show like the ownership of these news sites, and that's something we probably want to talk about at some point. But I just wanted to show that they're out there. The Yellowhammer Away, founded in 2011. It's changed ownership, and but this one, the AL Politics could not find a wiki or whatever for it, but and ownership, I have to figure out how to finagle that. Maybe we just call them. Maybe we do some real journalism. But yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. Marissa points out that it's only a cooperative in name only. That's some false ass advertising. Like they're like, man, they like jocking our style. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's it, folks. Pretty much. Jay, you got anything you'd like to add?
Shout out to the person who interrupted the Senate today, standing in the gallery of the National Senate and shouting, "You people are awful," over and over until they were removed. Because in fact, they are awful, and they need to be reminded of this fact often.
Yeah. Both sides of the wing. You know, we're not dealing with left wing or right wing. We're dealing with a bird with one wing, and it's all right wing, effectively. Yeah. What about you, Morgan? You got any other final thoughts before we say our goodbyes?
I was looking at the graffiti that was on the cooperative.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll we'll
news-
talk. Go ahead.
The news censored the word crackers. It said the graffiti said "shoot these crackers," and they censored out the word crackers.
I thought it was supposed to say Nazis.
I still think they should have said eat these crackers. I think that's much funnier. Like, and I wonder if that would have gotten censored or just eat these crackers. I don't know. Maybe.
They said, but yeah, and the news article I was reading about it, it said it used racially charged language. Like,
Well, I mean, she is from Georgia, you know. I mean,
she has the "I'm a Nazi and am super white" to a T.
yeah, and she's like, she's so like ironically, is she ironically anti-war? I don't even know, but also one of these anti-war right wingers, right? Like, maybe there's some hope. Nah. I can't bullshit myself, dog. I can't bullshit myself. Okay.
I got only so much copium.
Right. But yeah, so this has been Cornbread and Roses, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Do all the things for the algorithm. Well, much appreciated. Thank y'all for hanging out. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for being you. We love y'all out there. We really do. And, as we say around here, all the power to all the people. We, the people, break our chains together. Solidarity forever, folks.
solidarity forever.
Solidarity forever. See ya.